Rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all of our viewers, and welcome on Youth Matters with me, your host Sakina Habib. I would like to extend my heartfelt condolences to the Imam of our time, Imam Mahdi Ajallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, on the martyrdom of the master of martyrs, Aba Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam, and his progeny. These are beautiful heavenly Husseini banquets where we gather together to discuss the spirituality, the growth in the spiritual awakening that inspires us to be true Husseinis. Imam Hussein alayhi salam says that prayer is as beautiful as heaven is to me. And that is because in heaven, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exists. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's presence leads me to that essence through prayer, subhanAllah. And on today's discussion, I would like to talk about the transformative change and the spiritual awakening that one can get inspired through via going to Karbala Ziyarahs, and how to attain that oneness of Allah, that closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by connecting it to Tawhid. I'm so honored and pleased to have a very special guest join me on today's program, who was also a Ziyarah this time as she went to embark on a spiritual journey to Karbala. I would like to welcome Sister Salwa Habib. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam, Sister Sakina Habib. Thank you so much for having me here, and assalamu alaikum to all of our viewers and all of the people watching us, all of the mourners of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam.
Salwa, thank you so much. You know, my first question will be that when you went to Ziyarah, this time to Karbala, you know, you told me that you went especially during the Ayyam of Ashura. What was the overall experience for you? Overall experience, how did you feel?
This experience, this trip of Karbala, this Ziyarah, this Safar-e-Ishq was very different, and it was a surreal experience because it was an experience that I experienced with my entire family, with my sister, my parents, my niece, my brother-in-law, the entire family, and it was a kind of a spiritual awakening and a spiritual enlightenment. These 10 days of Muharram, the first 10 days of Muharram in Karbala are an extremely different and an extremely beautiful experience. There's so much that is happening during these 10 days. There is not a single moment of dullness. Azadari in itself is such a beautiful feeling, and no matter where you are in the world, the first 10 days of Muharram are always such a spiritually uplifting time for all of the mourners. But being in Karbala during those first 10 days is something else altogether. It is Aza multiplied times 10. Because everything is Muharram, everyone is Muharram, everywhere is Muharram. You know, the moment you step out of your hotel or wherever you're staying, you see the atmosphere of Muharram everywhere. People opening up their homes to give niyaz and tabarrukat to the zuwar. You will see sharbat stands and water stands everywhere. People with such beautiful hospitality. You will see people who really do not have, even though they don't have much to offer, yet their hearts are so huge. They are offering whatever little that they have. And even people who Zairin themselves, who come as musafir in this country, also spend so much in the way of Allah and the way of Imam Hussein to feed other Zairin, to be a musafir yourself and yet be so hospitable. is also something which is truly remarkable and something that can only be seen in Karbala. Nobody in Karbala can sleep hungry or thirsty during these 10 days. You can be on the roads and you will constantly be taken care of. And subhanAllah, just something from ghaib is constantly caring for you. It is like someone is giving you a huge hug and taking you in a huge embrace.
Absolutely, very well said, mashallah. As you were speaking to me about this, I was myself envisioning and imagining the scene, the beautiful spiritual atmosphere, the Muharram vibe of Karbala. And it's so true that, when you go there to this place, you forget everything that worries you, that puts you down, that gives you those negative vibes. It just disappears automatically, That's the beauty about this place. When you go there, you don't even want to come back. You just want to stay there and, be with the Imam and, call out to him, seek your supplications, your hajats, and just talk to the Imam. You just want to be in, his holy shrine, be there throughout, and it gives such a sense of serenity in the heart which is unexplainable. That peace really is unexplainable. I don't think you can get that sort of peace anywhere around the world which you see here. When it comes to I will call these the shining stars of Karbala through whom which we seek the path to spirituality. When we see Imam al-Hussein, Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam, such exemplary role models. When we attain hajats from their doorstep, it gives us that guarantee that they will definitely give us something. We are not going to go back empty-handed, right? And I'm sure we have witnessed and seen this time and again, that whoever goes to such places does not go back empty-handed. I just want to, also shed light on the women of Karbala who participated in this true mission of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And of course, one of the key figures, the role figures whom we see is Sayyidah Zainab, salamullahi alayha. The way she, stood as a lioness for her brother, supporting his mission, taking that stance against the oppressors, that speaks volumes about this woman. And to say that, Bibi Zainab at that time, participated in such an event to spread and propagate the message of Islam. We want to salute such a woman today because this message has come forth down to us today. We are getting those lessons from, her. Now, when it comes to attaining the Tawhid from going to Karbala Ziyarah, how can we inspire ourselves to create that connection of Tawheed via Karbala?
I think the first thing to keep in mind is that the Karbala in itself is Tawheed. And by saying that, I mean that if we look at the Battle of Karbala and the events that took place that day, there are huge lessons to learn from. And all of these lessons, the underlying aspect of all of these lessons is Tawheed. We witness Tawheed in the entire timeline of the day of Ashura, and the entire timeline of since the Imam and his family stepped foot on the land of Karbala. We witness Tawheed from then onwards. We witness Tawheed when Imam al-Hussein asked Shah Qasim, Hadrat Qasim, how he finds death, and he said, "Death is sweeter to me than honey." We witness Tawheed then because we know this for a fact that death for a true believer is heavenly, and death for a true believer is something that a true believer longs for, to meet his beloved. So we see Tawhid then. We see Tawhid on the day of Ashura, when the Imam, on the night of Ashura, when the Imam says that he wants a night just for ibadah. When he asks an extra night just for ibadah. We see Tawheed then. We see Tawheed on the day of Ashura, when the Imam said it's time for Dhuhrain. And in the middle of arrows and in the midst of a huge intense battle, the Imam leaves everything and stands up to pray. And the way we see his companions sacrificing themselves while the Imam is praying to protect their Imam while he is in front of his Lord. We see Tawheed then. We see Tawheed on the night of the grief, the full of grief night of Sham Ghariba, when Sayyida Zainab, even after all of the tiresome events of the night of Sham Ghariba, when she still does not leave her Salatul Layl, her Tahajjud, we see Tawheed then. So Tawheed is Karbala. When we listen about Karbala, when we listen to the majalis, it is impossible for us not to connect it with Tawheed. And then when we go to visit Karbala, the entire experience of Ziyarah is the experience of eventually becoming closer to Allah, because these personalities were close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and these personalities are the link. They show us the way to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hence, which is why when we are in the environment of Ziyarah, you can ask this to any Zair and they will tell you that they definitely felt closer to Allah while they were in the vicinity of Imam Hussein, while they were in the vicinity of Al-Abbas, and in the vicinity of all of the Shuhada. Because this is a thing that we can all notice as Shias, that even during the first 10 days of Muharram, no matter where we are in the world, these first 10 days of Muharram are always a sense of spiritual awakening. Ayam Azza, regardless of where you are, you feel spiritually more connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Majalis, no matter where you attend them, wherever there is a Farsh Azza, when you come to a Farsh Azza, when you leave a Farsh Azza, you feel spiritually awakened. It's like a spiritual awakening in the month of Ramadan and the month of Muharram. We feel this, So imagine going to the city of the people that you are crying for. Of course, you will have an even more elevated sense of spiritual awakening. The hard part is to maintain that after you come back. Because while you are there, you are completely away from the world, completely detached from everything in the dunya. Nothing feels good except for the shrine. Whether you are in Najaf or you are in Karbala or you are in Kalmain or you are in Samara, you are constantly you're constantly going to the shrine, constantly in a 24/7 environment of Ya Hussein and Ya Ali and Ya Allah. You are constantly in that environment, so it is difficult for you to falter. But when you come back, that is the difficult part of whether you can maintain that spirituality after coming back from Karbala. But every single person who comes back from Karbala definitely changes in some way or the other. There's always, you will notice yourself that something in you has changed. Something is not the same. Even if it is something really small and something really, really tiny. Because tiny things then eventually lead to bigger things, So when you come back from Karbala, we should notice ourselves and notice the little changes that we have in ourselves and thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. Thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gave us the opportunity to visit Imam al-Hussein, and we got to visit Imam al-Hussein and we got the karama of Imam al-Hussein, and we were able to change a few things in us and to have the tawfiq to keep going there again and again so that we can be completely changed individuals.
Thank you, Salwa. You know, you have shared a really heart-touching and such a splendid message out there. I cannot thank you enough because it's so true. Whatever you mentioned, each word that you spoke really stands out with full honesty. And when someone goes for Ziyarah, whether we can see this change or not, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates that within our hearts somewhere. He creates that transformation within our souls. And now the question here is that when you're back, can you still maintain with that spirituality, or does that falter over time? A very good reminder that Sister Salwa has pointed out, because oftentimes what happens is that when we get back to our home countries, when we get back to our normal routines, it is very difficult to still maintain that spiritual essence. Obviously, it's our fitra, it's the human being's natural instinct that one gets so carried away with the worldly occupations and all of that. However, in our hearts we all know that every day is Karbala for us, every land is Ashura. Every day is Ashura and every land is Karbala for us, right? So this should be a daily reminder for us. Now, when I want to look into the lives of these amazing women as well. So, Layla, Rabab, Farwa. These were some remarkable women we see in the history of Karbala because they sacrificed everything that they had. They sacrificed their children, and in the honor of the love for Aba Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. It was so difficult for these women to have seen and witnessed their own men get beheaded and slaughtered and slain on the lands of Karbala, and now especially when they know that they have to go back now to Medina, when their caravan is now completely destroyed and they have nothing, they're empty-handed. Can we, as women sometimes envision what they really went through in terms of, mental strength, mental health, everything comes into play. I just wonder sometimes what was going on in their minds at that time. At the same time, we see that how they were so united. They mourned together, they grieved together. They didn't have that egoistic status amongst them, as in there was no sense of competition between them that I am serving or I am sacrificing, but rather we are all into this together, right? That's the beauty that we see about these women who were so intellectual, so pragmatic in what they did. What would you like to say?
The women of Karbala are the unsung heroes of Karbala. These women are the essence of Karbala because without them, Karbala would have been very incomplete. Is incomplete. Karbala, actually, as we see it, is a teamwork. It is not only Imam Hussein. It is Imam Hussein. All of these women, all of his companions. If any one of these was not too strong, Karbala would fall apart. Every single one of these are what made Karbala Karbala. And truly, we cannot imagine what these women went through. It is very easy for us to, I would say, it is very easy to listen to the Masa'ib and to say the Masa'ib, but to actually live it is not everybody's cup of tea. It is very easy for us to say that we wish we were with Imam Hussein, but then we need to ask ourselves how we deal with the minor problems in our lives. If we get so worked up with the minor problems in our lives, how can we say with so much assurity or so much assurance that we would have been there in Karbala? Because Karbala was not easy. It is not easy to be a mu'min. It is in any era. It will never be easy to be a mu'min, a true mu'min in any era. It will never be easy to be a true Husayni in any era. And we really need to understand that. It is easy to say, فَيَا لَيْتَنِي كُنْتُ مَعَكُمْ فَأَفُوزَ مَعَكُمْ فَوْزًا عَظِيمًا. But if we really want to live that, we need to reassess our behavior. And we need to reassess how we react to any issues or any troubles. Are we to our tests? How are we reacting to our tests? Because if we put ourselves in the place of those women, I don't think we would be able to. Would we be able to? We would not. They had reached that level of yaqeen and that level of tawhid, that level of yaqeen in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that they were ready to sacrifice every single thing for their imam and nothing mattered to them. They were content. Even after everything, Sayyidah Zainab said, مَا رَأَيْتُ إِلَّا جَمِيلًا. She saw nothing but beauty. That is a level, an extreme level of tawheed, an extreme level of ubudiyyah, to be content and to be at peace with the harshest of calamities, with the worst of tragedies, which is something that we as women especially really need to work on with whatever minor troubles we may have in our home lives or outside, or if I'm a woman who is working and also dealing with home, how to balance those two, to not lose my cool, to be content with whatever it is that is being thrown at me. So all of these are lessons that we see in Karbala and that we need to reassess within ourselves and reflect and ponder on, and pray to Allah for us to have that sense, that extreme sense of yaqeen and that extreme sense of tawheed, so that we can be of service to the Imam of our time when he comes, inshallah. Because Karbala is not over. Karbala can also be seen as a metaphor. When the Imam of our time comes, there will be a lot of difficulties. There will be harsh realities, harsh reality checks that we will have to face, and we need to prepare ourselves to stand with him. If we weren't with Imam Hussein, inshallah, we need to pray to Allah to give us the courage to be with Imam al-Mahdi ajallahu ta'ala faraja, and to be the kind of women that we saw in Karbala. We take them as role models, and we pray each and every day for us to have the courage as them to be able to send our brothers and fathers and husbands and sons with Imam al-Mahdi, because that too will not be an easy path.
Thank you, Salwa. I think you've almost summarized the practical tips, the sustainable tips and reminders that we can take to prepare ourselves for the reappearance of the Imam of our time, Ajallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, as well. Some very practical tips, mashallah, shared. That how can we, be the true, sincere followers of Imam al-Hussein and of Imam al-Mahdi, Ajallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. The point about women that Salwa has highlighted is really outstanding. And I say this because, we cannot just say that, maybe Zainab and all these women were really some laid-back women living, in a type of a century where, they were just housewives and they were not ambitious. They didn't have any career goals. They didn't have those goals or those visions in their lives. And so just, one day they were in the kitchen, they were probably just cooking food, and Imam Hussein alayhi salam comes to them and tells them, we have to go and embark on this mission and I need your support. And, they're just moving. And no, that wasn't the case. This was something that started from the very beginning, from scratch. And as she mentioned, the epitome is Tawhid. Tawhid is the root that led these women to become these exemplary role models.
Just to add on.
Yes.
Just to add on. Karbala, the beginning of Karbala was, we can even say it was from Sayyidah Fatima. The beginning of Karbala started from way before. It started right from Sayyidah Fatima. When Sayyidah Fatima was fighting for her rights, that is the root of Karbala actually started from there. Way before Imam Hussein even. And the root of Karbala was Sayyidah Fatima, and then it transferred to Imam al-Hassan signing the peace treaty, and then Imam Hussein eventually fighting for the right that was initially taken away. So again, as she said, that Sayyidah Fatima was a powerful woman. She was a woman with ambition. She had an ambition, right, to fight for wilayah. And that is the greatest ambition that any woman can have. That is what Sayyidah Fatima showed us. The very first thing that a woman, that she fought for, was wilayah, and that's exactly what she was trying to show us. And Sayyidah Zainab carried on the legacy of her mother, fighting for the wilayah of her brother Hussein. And that is what we women have to learn as well. To fight for the wilayah of the Imam of the time is the greatest ambition that a woman can have. And it is not an easy task. It was not easy for Sayyidah Fatima, and it was not easy for Sayyidah Zainab, and it was not easy for all of the women in Karbala. It was not easy, but they did it with such valor and such courage that till today, everybody remembers the sacrifices of these women. Everyone remembers Fatima, and everyone remembers the khutbahs of Sayyidah Zainab that shook Yazid's entire empire came crumbling down due to the words, due to the sermons of the awakening of Sayyidah Zainab. So these women were actually truly the essence of Karbala, because the shuhada were martyred, but after the shuhada were martyred, there needed to be someone to carry their message forward. And it was these women who did that.
Thank you, Salwa, so much for sharing this amazing message. I really wanted this, to be put out, especially because it's the month of Safar as well, and during the month of Safar, we remember these women who struggled to go back to Medina, and this is how they went back. They literally lost everything, but yet they had that light and flame of Tawhid that was shining throughout, even despite their struggles, and they did that tawakkul. They had the tawakkul and sabr in them, and sabr and shukr, that they were so thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for each and every sacrifice that they made on the plains of Karbala. And I would just like to finally end the program by saying that in order to be the sincere followers of the Imam of our time, indeed we need to remind ourselves through these visitings of Ziyarah. When we go to Karbala, it really reshapes, it molds our souls, it nourishes our souls, and it brings in that change within us. It cleanses our souls as a reminder of what were some of the key lessons that we can take from Karbala. What were the events that took place? Why did these people get motivated? Why were these women and why were these men motivated to serve Imam Hussein alayhi salam? So these are some fresh reminders, and that's why it is so good to keep going for ziyarahs. I would like to encourage everybody out there to go to these ziyarahs, make a point to visit these holy shrines as much as possible during your lifetime, because truly this is our final destination. Thank you so much, Salwa, for joining me on today's program and for taking out your precious time.
Thank you so much for having me. And for those of you who are unable to go for Ziyarah, or unable to go for Ashura, and are unable to go for Arba'een, do not be disheartened, because wherever you attend the majalis of Imam al-Hussein is with you and He's watching you. Even these majalis of Imam Hussein, do not take them lightly, because they are also, it is basically like imagine yourself in the shrine of Imam Hussein, and inshallah very soon may all of you and all of us all of us who have already been, may us keep going again and again, and all of you who have never been, may you inshallah go very, very soon, inshallah.
Jazakumullahu khairan. This is your host Sakina Habib signing off. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.